Yep. What fetching video stream it says. Okay, we are live again. Are we picking up sound? Is everything working? Yes? Okay. Are we getting any? Are we getting it? Okay. Well, I'm just going to go for it, and you guys let me know if you can't hear me. Obviously, we are behind the scenes today. Welcome, Rebecca. We are behind the scenes today, so I am shooting Second Sunday from our video shoot here for our Quantum Life Tour. So we're having, obviously, a few little technical issues, but that's okay. Good morning. I wanted to start at 11:11, but we did in spirit. So welcome to Second Sunday for August 2018. We are sitting right in the new moon. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with me, my name is Jessica Alstrom, and I am the creator of Transcendence International Consciousness Academy, which is basically an online university that basically helps you realign and become higher self. And for those of you who are hearing higher self for the first time, what that means to me and our community is that unlimited potential of who you really are inside, the real you that doesn't have all of those programs and limitations and belief systems that you aren't worthy and that you aren't important and that you're not valuable. So that's the journey that I've been on and teaching for the past 7 years. I started off with wellness centers where we did physical and energetic modalities to help basically awaken the body back into its natural state of consciousness, which is unlimited potential, believe it or not. You started off as unlimited potential, and through your life experience, that actually began to filter its way back into density. So this ascension process that we're in right now is basically the remembering and the becoming of who you really are. And with that aspect, the timing is so perfect for us all right now. Welcome to the new earth. Some of you are looking around and saying, where is it? And believe it or not, the coordinates to the new earth are embedded deep inside of you. And I have been working night and day in my academy and global coaching all over the world in 106 different countries to help you guys, through my voice and through my teachings, access the remembering of who you are. And through that, we can then activate. So this new moon that we're sitting in is like a doorway. It's like a doorway that says, walk in, it's your time to play. So what does that mean, play? If the only thing that we actually need to do to become the highest version of ourselves was to be our higher self, which was to be our true self, which was to be authentic, which was to be transparent. Notice how I didn't say perfect. Notice how I said authentic, which means your becoming is actually what's going to be the greatest activation inside of you. It is going to be the presence of you standing up and saying, this is who I am, and this is what I choose to do, and this is what I choose to think, and this is what I choose to feel, regardless of obligation and circumstances and financial obligations that tie you into your belief systems. Walking away from that is what is actually going to begin to activate you. And that's what my teachings have always been about. They've always been activations. They've always been about remembering, because that's really all we need to do. And everything has lined up so perfectly with everything that's happening with the planet. The eclipses, the solar flares, the retrogrades, the new moons, the full moons. Everything has been like clockwork to deliver us the keys. And those keys are basically the unveiling and the unfolding and the remembering of who we've always been. And who we always are at the base point of that is love. And love has become a nasty word over the years because love has shaken us and broken us and caused us huge amounts of grief. It has caused us suffering, but only because we've loved through limitation. We've loved through separation. We've loved through rejection and abandonment. But as we clean all of that up deep inside of ourselves, we kind of unlock the potential that's sitting there. Because the mind will get you into a logical circumstance of your life. It will get you an okay, ordinary existence. But the heart of the mind is where all of that potential resides, and all of the keys to your superhuman abilities, your psychic powers, your remembering of your Akashic records, your remembering of your true essence of source energy is actually lodged and located in the memory of the heart. The heart is also connected to every other heart field in the universe. So once we activate ourselves, we begin this global activation. So after 7 years of being behind a camera in a classroom, I decided that it's time for us to not just activate through words, stories, metaphors, intentions, modalities, workshops, seminars, but it's actually time for us to go practice the celebration of this already existing, the celebration of who we've always been. You know, in manifestation, there's a key point, and the key point of manifestation is to act as if. If we all acted as if we were enlightened, this would be a fully enlightened civilization in about 21 days. If we act out our higher selves every day, we would be completely our higher selves in 21 days. There's magic numbers here, and they come in 3s, 6, and 9, if you're familiar with the ideas of frequency and vibration. And that is really what we're using as a global awareness to access and enlighten with activation codes during this quantum revolution. So what is the quantum revolution? The quantum revolution is you realizing that you are quantum. And what is quantum? Quantum is all-inclusive. There's no boxes. There's no spiritual boxes. There's no 3D boxes. There's no religious boxes. There's no gender boxes. There's no yes or no boxes. There is just possibilities, potential, and basically unlimited access for you to redefine and create your reality, because you didn't come here to find yourself. You came here to create yourself. And once you remember who you are, it makes the playing ground a lot more easy to access. If you knew that this was a holographic virtual reality experience, would you really be afraid of anything? Would you really be worried about what was going to happen if you knew that you were creator? And that's where we're heading as a collective. So it's actually time for us to begin to celebrate. So this new moon is not, okay, now I've got to find courage and now I've got to find my potential. It is, how about just celebrating your potential, celebrating what already exists within you, and the universe will match that. So what it's going to do is it's going to amplify and open you up even more as you begin to act as if. So this global tour that we're embarking on, we plan to do 6 tours a year, 3 days, right, over basically a 9-month period. And so again, there's that 3, 6, and 9 number that you will begin to understand when you actually visit us wherever we are on the planet. And our first location is very specific. The first location that we have chosen for our global tour date is Miami. Not to mention it's beautiful and it's fun, but it has very important vortexes of energy that is basically what we're going to use to activate the planet in this first tour. There may only be 300 of you physically sitting in the seats, but 300 of you will impact the planet. Because what we're going to do is we're going to help you get so deep inside of yourself, so past your belief systems and your obligations and your circumstances and your events that you're constantly focused on. Get you out of your 5 senses of rut, what your environment smells like and tastes like and feels like and reminds you of, and move you into sound. Sound is the way the planet is going to be healed. Vibration is what's going to break the shackles of the 3D construct and move you into this awakening place. It's time for us to get rid of the amnesia and move into a place where we know we are creators and we can actually walk and talk as creators. And the way that's going to be presented over a 3-day period is very precise technology, very precise teachings that are linked with light and sound, tons of body movement. Because believe it or not, the last stage of your ascension process isn't that you need to learn one more spiritual modality and get one more certification. It is that it's time for us to activate your body. It is time for us to awaken the DNA that is basically has been shut down through an old program. It's time for us to upgrade you, just the way you get a phone upgrade. It's time to upgrade your DNA so that you can play in this new world. Your body is going to actually be what you get to act out heaven on earth. This body is the conduit for physical reality. This body is actually the thing that's going to stream your hologram. You're streaming your hologram through the projection of your 3rd dimensional brain. And so if your 3rd dimensional brain has been programmed through separation, that's what it's going to continue to see. And as the planet has been fully integrated in 5D now, wouldn't you like to see what actually exists? Wouldn't you like to experience what is actually really happening on the planet? It's been shifted for months and months and months, and the integration process cannot be fulfilled until the body believes as if. So when the body believes as if, you are going to start seeing differently, feeling differently, talking differently. You know, one of the things that I've noticed as I'm going through my own ascension process is each time I get rid of a layer of separation, I access a new quantum gift within me, whether it's light language or movement or a new frequency that I'm able to create with my body or my mind, the way that I'm able to access grids of information that are lodged in the planet of evolution. You know, at one point, this civilization was highly, highly intuitive, motivated, and highly technically advanced. And believe it or not, all the memories of all of that reside on planet Earth herself. And as she goes quantum, which means she goes fully, fully ascended, we move out of density, we move out of duality, we move out of separation. We begin to play in what's called heaven on earth. You know, all of the stories are true. The mind is where hell resides, and the heart is where heaven is. So as we begin to open up that heart, and we begin to remember who we are, we begin to access our truest potential. You know, there was a time, even on this planet, that you probably can remember, some of you, where you were using your telepathic energy to communicate with your loved ones. You were throwing fireballs and making genetic experiments that were amazing. You were accessing the potential of the field of quantum physics to basically create your reality with one thought. And we will be basically back to that point very, very soon. So the faster we activate our DNA, and the faster that we step into our truth, and the faster that we let go of the stories of who we've been that are holding us back for who we could be, the faster we get the playground. You know, if you're like me, I've always been obsessed with the cheat codes of this journey. It's always been about how I can uncode, decode, and create cheat codes for all of you, you know, so that I've made all the mistakes for you so you don't necessarily have to go and make all of those. It's about frequency and it's about vibration. Who you believe you are and what you are acting out that determines your physical reality. So if you believe that you're limited, your life will be filled with limitations no matter how spiritually advanced you are. If you are stuck in grief, if you are stuck in guilt and shame, if you are stuck in humiliation, if you are stuck in fear, your life will be nothing more than quantum entanglement with those vibrations that will do nothing more than basically amplify and recreate situations where you are still living in separation, even though the entire universe is evolving at hyperspeed. So on the tour, what we're going to be doing is I'm working with basically 3 other specialists in their field. A music and movement specialist, a breath specialist, and a technology specialist. And then, of course, you have me, which you're all familiar with by now. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to translate everything that's going on and activate as we go to completely clear separation between you and your freedom and abundance, between you and the unity of others, between you and time and space, and between you with the war that you have going on within your own body that is keeping you in limitation. Because believe it or not, the war that you have going on with your own mind and the viewpoint that you have with the way your body looks and feels and ages is actually holding you back. So in 3 days, we are going to create an atmosphere and a vortex that will do everything that you will allow to upgrade and amplify through activation. And the coolest part about all of this is it's going to be a party. It's going to be a party with a purpose. We're going to have the most insane music you've ever heard. It's going to shake separation loose. It's going to shake pain loose. It's going to put you into that playground. And it's going to remind you that you didn't come here to suffer, you came to play. Every single one of you is a child. And it's funny how the older that we get, the more childlike we feel. And the reason why we feel more childlike as we get older is because we start to move into this place of humility where, you know, we've worked really hard to make our life work and it just doesn't. So we return to childhood because it's the only thing that keeps us sane. And through that play, and through that heart expansion, and through that remembering, what we're able to do is we're able to look with each other and work with each other and live with each other in a way where ego has never allowed that before. Think back at all of the potentials that you've ever had in your life, and look what ruined it. Look what judgment or separation or rejection or abandonment ruined a huge potential that you had, whether it was a relationship, whether it was a business partner, whether it was a parent situation. You can recall in your mind a time that the smaller unawakened part of you, which we lovingly call ego, ruined your life. And what we would like to do is we would like to heal that aspect of you, because that aspect of you is not about death of ego. It is about integration through love. It is about remembering the true purpose of why ego exists. Ego exists because in a realm of unconsciousness and amnesia, you needed a survival mechanism. You needed something that kept you in conforming. That needed to keep you something that was keeping you at war with yourself, so you wouldn't go off the deep end and basically be a total black sheep, even though you've always been one, even though you've always been different. You've always seen the world different, and you've always seen the world as something that it could be if everyone would just get along and everybody could just love themselves. Believe it or not, the only person that you ever need to convince that that is true is you. And during this 3-day activation, you aren't going to be working on students. You're not going to be working on other people. You're going to be going so deep inside of yourself that you're going to fall madly in love with who you are, because you don't want to be anyone else. You don't want my skill set. You don't want my abilities. You don't want that channel's abilities. You have no idea what you have, but you do know what you have because you actually set up everything for yourself. So the comparison and jealousy that you felt on this journey will all wash away when you remember. And look at that word, remember, to put back together who you came to be, because you came here to do it specifically. And you're saying, well, what did I come to do? You've come here to completely be able to share your language of your heart with the world. And that is going to be unique. That is going to be so precious to you that you're going to realize why you have never been able to be like anyone else. The way you came to play and share your heart is going to blow your mind when you begin to remember. And it's only going to be in that moment that you understand your divine purpose. Because as I unlock layers of my own heart, my purpose unfolds in front of me. And it is nothing that I could have ever expected. It's not ever something that I could have dreamed up. It's not ever anything that I could have wished for because I didn't even know it existed. To be able to be a guide on this journey for all of you, to help you remember and help you while you're remembering who you are, move back to your greatest potential, is the greatest gift that I could ever give myself. It is the greatest legacy that I could ever leave for my children. If I've helped one person move out of their own suffering of their own mind, then I could leave this planet feeling totally fulfilled. But I also know that I don't want to leave until the party is live 24/7, and that we are an activated species that has so much compassion and so much gratitude and so much understanding and so much awareness, not because it was easy, but because it wasn't. But it doesn't need to be anymore. The universe is giving us a great gift with this Leo new moon. And this Leo new moon is basically saying you're free to walk about the cabin. You're free to create your reality. You're free to choose thriving instead of severing. You can go play. And a matter of fact, if you would actually go and start playing and start being the real you, you would step into the shoes that you developed before you came. You would step into your healing modalities. You would step into all of your genius. You would remember through each step forward who you were. So that's really what this second Sunday is about. It's about knowing that the activations that are coming, whether you go the fast track, the way I like to go, or you play this out in third dimension until you are done with the experience, it really doesn't matter. I like to go quick because I want to get to the playground. It's just like when you were in school and you got through your studies really quick so you could go have lunch with your friends and you could get to the playground. That's where we are in this time-space reality. You came to bend and manipulate time to your construct of your desires. You came to create heaven on earth, and that involves extreme wealth that's used for a greater purpose. That is about unlimited health. That's about rewiring the age so that you can choose what age you can exist. And I can guarantee you, maybe not in your lifetime if you choose to go slow, but in your children's lifetime, they will be able to experience all of this. You have 12 strands of DNA. And as they unlock, they access more potential in the universe, more memories of strength, more codes of affirmation that you'll be using to act out your physical life. And when we keep our DNA dormant because of our own belief systems, then we create our own suffering. So it's time to activate you. And what I wanted to do is give you a little tiny gift in this second Sunday as just a little taste of what's coming on the tour. Now, mind you, I will be in a beautiful location with crystal energy under our feet, with the highest level of heart technology used all around the room, with beautiful acoustics for sound that will be bouncing off of all of you and everyone, and lots of helpers to help me navigate this activation. But what I wanted to give you today is let you know that activation is just one mindset away. It's one dial to the left. It is about you making a choice if you would like to continue to suffer or if you would like to interact with the freedom that you came here to play with. So the activation that I want to give you guys today is about abundance, because I know that that is probably the number one thing that, light workers and all of you guys out there are dealing with. Is you want to be the biggest version of you, but your life seems to keep you in this box. Your money line keeps you stuck, or your relationship doesn't let you be completely authentic, or you're obligated to, your family, your friends, your job, your bills, your lifestyle. So what if that changed? What if you began to look at all of that differently? And instead of looking at it as something that's a big burden, keeping the child locked in the room, what if you looked at it as an access point? What if you looked at your own abundance as the thread that would open you up to freedom? And the only thing that you actually have to do to activate those things inside of you is see things differently. Now, that's the activation. But the activation then needs you as a physical being, mind, body, soul, to act out the activation. And that is one thing that I talk about a lot, which is why I've never really gone around the world and done big workshops before. Because I actually had a PTSD moment with a workshop that I did my very first time after my awakening. And I flew all the way to Florida and I took a quantum healing class. And it was the most ecstasy and passionate experience that I ever had. And it lasted about 2 days. And I got so high and so motivated and so excited about these modalities that I was learning, that I was integrating, that when I came home, I thought my life was going to be completely different. I thought that when I stepped foot into my house that my relationship was going to be different and my kids were going to be different, and I had this new healing modality and I was going to be able to heal everyone. But during those 2 days, I didn't take a very important step. I didn't become that person. I became a person who knew the information, but I did not become a quantum healer. So instead, I came home and my physical reality collapsed all around me. I got high and then I had that extreme low. And that low threw me into a tailspin. For almost a year, I didn't know who I was because I had never felt such an extreme expansion. But I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with the activation. And it was only 5 years later when I began to act out who I was that all of those modalities began to come through me and I was able to use quantum healing in my practices. So what we're going to do differently with you guys on this tour is we're not only going to activate you, but you're going to be acting out who you are so that every cell in your body knows exactly the activation point and knows what to do with it, knows what to feel with it. So when you get home, you will be doing laundry different and paying bills different and living your life different, because that's what actually creates the integration of an activation. You have to become it. So I want to get you set up today. And I want to give you 2 activation points that are all in alignment with frequency and abundance of freedom. Now, to me, that's inclusive with money. That's inclusive with support around you. That's inclusive with ideas, genius ideas that could flow through you that any moment could break you free from the problem sets that you have. And those 2 activations are all around money. So you've got a negative relationship, most of you, with money, or at least the way you believe it. It has become your warden. It has become the thing that traps your dreams and locks them in a cage. It is breaking your heart every day when you can't be as generous as you want to be or as creative as you want to be. And the breaking of your own heart keeps your heart in that jail cell because you don't want to be vulnerable to it. So you slow your dreams down, you get a real job, and you do your spiritual activities on the weekends. That's not how this planet is going to awaken and become 5D. How we're going to become 5D is we're going to get so courageous with ourselves that we're going to take these 2 activations today and we're going to embed them into our physical reality, and we're going to say them over and over again, and then we're going to act them out. And when we act something out, the body gets the message. And when you act something out long enough, it becomes subconscious. And when it becomes subconscious, you no longer need to be conscious of what you're acting out, which means your acting out becomes who you are. And those 2 activations that I want to give you are just words today because I don't have my big, beautiful presentation available until October. But the 2 phrases that I'm going to give you, the 2 terms, the 2 words, is first, I am worthy. And the second one is I am my own value. Those are 2 activations. Now let me ask you, you've heard this over and over and over again in your spiritual teachings, but have you believed it? Have you become it? Have you acted it out? Have you noticed it in your physical reality where you already are worthy? Have you seen that the value that you have, you're degrading every day? When people tell you how amazing you are and you're like, that's degrading your own value, which actually cuts off your money line. It keeps your heart in a jail cell. It's time for you to acknowledge and accept. It's time for you to say thank you. It's time for you to receive that about yourself. And then you need to take it one step further and you need to put it into your day, which means you need to see how worthy you are and you need to become even more worthy of yourself. You need to see your own value in what you're already doing, and you need to amplify it by 10 times. Because what that will do is it will throw you into a completely parallel reality where you are worthy and you are valuable, which you've always been, but you didn't believe. And then in that reality, you will create around you and align with people, places, and things that see your value, promote your value, and want to provide aspect that is in regard to the value, which means they want what you have. So it won't be a situation where you're this amazing healer, but you can't get clients, or you can't get them to pay for you, pay for your services. You will move into a parallel reality where people will be begging to work with you, begging to see what you have, because you know your own value and you know your own worth. So that's where we're heading as a collective, guys. I just wanted to give you this awesome message today. Sorry about the little sound mistake that we had in the beginning, but you know what? That happens. And we keep rolling and we keep showing up no matter what. So I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions right now. I will take 3 questions today if there are questions. If not, what I will be doing is we will be putting the link of our quick checkout. Right now we are working on all of the video aspects of our marketing package for the tour, and getting that fully ready for you guys to have a visceral experience of what the tour will be like even before we have the tour. That's what we're working on this weekend. That's why we're on set. But we will be putting the quick checkout link in the comments today so that you guys can, if you're inspired to just join us right away, you can do that. But if not, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to take 3 questions if there are any online. Do we have any? Or if you guys want to jump on and ask, that's okay too. Let's see. Oh, Pino says, are you going live on your tour for the people in Europe? Yes, we will be in Europe. What we're planning to do is we're planning to do probably 3 USA-based tours and then 3 international. So yes, we will absolutely be in Europe probably later in 2019, for sure. Unless you enter as a child, you cannot enter. That's right. Good comment there. Anything else? I can't see all of the... Sweet. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I love it.
There's a question.
Okay.
How do I know if I'm on the right path?
The question is, how do I know I'm on the right path? That is a great question. See, you'll know you're on the right path by the way you feel. Your feeling is your GPS system. It's always been your GPS system. But we've been taught to use our logic and our mind to get us where we need to be because that's the way we've been taught. But your true GPS system is your feelings. When you feel good, excited, that is the direction of your true north soul. That is going to take you into your happiness, abundance, and true purpose. When you feel bad, it's like that childhood game of hot and cold. When you feel bad, you're going away from yourself. And when you feel good, you're going towards yourself. So you're all intuitive, you're all psychic, because if you have the aspect to know if you feel good or you feel bad, you are perfectly where you need to be. So if you feel good about anything you're doing, you're on the right track even if it doesn't make sense. You are, and it's going to be one of those shortcuts. You know, sometimes I say, and I always say, that every negative is a shortcut. And sometimes feeling good will take you into a negative situation, but it's not negative, it's a shortcut. It's going to detour you away from a whole bunch of physical experiences that you didn't really come to have. So it's going to take you into the dark night, through the dark forest, out to the other side where the treasure is. And if you follow your highest excitement, and you follow your heart, and you follow your dreams, and you follow your happiness, then it will take you, no matter what, into the right place. All right, how do we act out I am worthy in our daily life? Lisa, love it. Perfect question. How do I act out I am worthy? First of all, I notice where I already am. If you're on the planet, if you're alive today, you're supposed to be here, which means you're worthy. But I know a lot of you are like, yeah, that doesn't really fit and work for me right now. So how you can act out your worthiness is first to see where you are. Look at what a good year you've been for people. Look at how much service you've already given that has probably not given you much in return. Look at how you're there for people. Look at how generous and empathic you are. Do you know that an empath, to be able to feel what other people feel, do you know how worthy of a superpower that is? Your great ideas, your helpful intuition, the fact that you get up and are selfless some of the days, all of these things are you, first and foremost, in need of acknowledgement of where you are. Acceptance is the true definition of love. And if you can accept where you already are worthy, then you can begin to allow yourself to act out even more layers of that. So how can you create more worthiness? You can make sure that when you wake up, you say, who do I choose to be? And then you fulfill your own desires of that, which means you're not going to piss away your day. You're going to act as if you are the most worthy person in the world, and that's going to change your biochemistry. And it's going to tell your cells that you are one who deserves to be here, and their voice needs to be heard and is allowed to be heard. You're here to be seen and heard for your own special gifts. So worth needs to come from, first and foremost, your own agreement. You need to agree. You need to allow. You need to accept. And then add on to that. So how do I add on worth in my life? I try to be the best parent that I can be in the reality that I'm in, which means allow my children to be embarking in their own journey versus being that helicopter mom and putting all of my pain and suffering on them. I try to be of service for those who are asking for help. I am always generous to those who are investing in themselves. But just by me working on myself, by me sitting in meditation and going into gratitude for 5 minutes a day, that makes me feel more worthy, so then I can become more worthy. So it's really just acting it out, is acknowledging it and believing it and holding your shoulders up high. One of the things too about worth is not just forgiving yourself, but integrating the past. Letting go of the guilt and the shame that you've carried in the past when you weren't feeling worthy, when you may have made a mistake or been unconscious or been desperate or been in isolation or been trapped and made a decision that you're not in line with. Did you know that you had to make those decisions in order to get to the place where you were fully awakened? Because pressure is what actually creates the diamond. And if we are crystalline energy in this DNA, then we've used our own pressure to move us into that state of being. So one way that you could really act out your worth is to let go of all of your shame and guilt, to let go of all of your humiliating memories from the past, and look at them as the shortcut that got you to this moment, that got you to hear my voice today and remember who you are. All right. Do we have one last question? If not, we're going to wrap for the day, and we're going to get back to work on this tour. Anything? What if I can only do one day of the tour? If you can only do one day of the tour, just by being at the tour, you're connecting with the frequency. So even if you weren't able to stay all 3 days, your soul would be fully integrated in that process and you would get the exact same results. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for being a part of our second Sunday. Obviously, my teachings are going to tremendously change in the future. So if anything that I said resonated with you today or got your little child excited, please join me on my global Facebook coaching page, which is Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life Tika, which is a paid group. For $22 a month, I channel a workshop every week and do a live question and answer. And if you're ready to really invest in yourself, we also have the university, the academy, which is Transcendence International Consciousness Academy, which we have virtual classrooms all over the world. And if you're ready to play, I would love to see you all on the tour and meet you all personally while we activate this planet. Thank you guys so much for letting me crash your Sunday, and I hope you have a very worthy day.